Hello again and welcome back to another episode of Shallow Thoughts and Deep Shit. I'm Jefferson Lambert and I'll be your host for this atrocity as I journey through the mind of a serial misanthrope. If you want, you could rate the show, subscribe, and follow. And you could also follow me on X, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out the website at www.shallowthoughtsanddeepshit.com. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started, shall we? Dress up, beat down. When I was about 5 years old, I did something that I'm not too proud of, but obviously not too embarrassed to share. Like I mentioned in a previous episode, my father worked nights and slept all day long while my brother and I and some unfortunate babysitter roamed the house all day. My father had slept in the back room of the house, probably to keep the sun out. You know, the one I almost burnt to the ground in a previous episode. In the middle of one day, I went into the master bedroom and closed the door and decided to have a fashion show all by myself in front of the mirror, using my mother's clothes. I decided to get all dolled up that day. That was my first mistake. I found some nice high heels and put them on and tried to walk around in them. Those damn things were just awful to walk in. I got on a plaid skirt, threw on one of her coats, and tied a fancy scarf around my neck and grabbed one of her old purses and slung it over my shoulder. Boy, did I look grand. A regular fancy boy. To complete the ensemble, I dusted my face with powder and threw on some lipstick and looked in the mirror and saw my reflection and thought I looked rather spiffy in these new duds. That was my next mistake. Now, in my defense, I was just a child. I had no idea what I was doing and really have no explanation for my actions. I wasn't hurting anybody and was just killing time by myself. And yes, I probably could have tried on my father's clothes that day, but I didn't. I make no apologies. All these women's clothes and my striking high heel pumps were not enough though, and I found on the dresser a bottle of perfume and picked it up. This was my last mistake. I sprayed it on my neck, my chest, my arms, and all over, and all the while not realizing that the smell was lingering around me and traveling through the door, down the hall, and into my father's room and up into his nostrils. Who knew that perfume could double as an alarm clock? As I was admiring my new self in the mirror, the door opened so my father could investigate where the stench of perfume is coming from in the middle of the day while he's sleeping. He looked me over, his eyes widened, and he grit his teeth as he stood in the doorway, appalled by the sight before him. "What the fuck are you doing?" he yelled at me. Now you have to understand, when my father yelled, it used to make the hair on the back of my neck stand straight up. I not only heard his angered voice, but I could feel it as well. Dogs probably feel the same way when they're scolded and their tail retreats between their legs. I was the scolded dog. And there I was, standing in front of the mirror inside a cloud of mom's perfume, wearing her high heels, shirt, scarf, pocketbook, and my face done up like a circus clown. Let that sight sink in for a moment. "Why are you dressed like that?" he yelled. Now that I'm older and thinking back to this memory, I wonder if my fresh tears made my makeup streak. I can't remember. The disappointment in my father's voice was evident, and I've heard that tone before this incident and many times after. He marched into the room, all the hazy sleep now gone from his face, and he ripped the pocketbook off my bony shoulder and tugged at the scarf around my neck and ripped it off and threw it on the dresser. "What are you doing in here?" he yelled. "I don't know," I said, and I kicked off my heels, and I felt like I was the tiniest speck of human waste on the planet. "Get that shit off," he ordered, "right now," and he pushed me as I was pulling down my skirt. My arm was beginning to get sore from where he ripped the purse off me, and I was crying. "What the hell are you doing?" he asked. I had no answer, and even if I did, I couldn't even speak if I wanted to. Like almost everything else in my life, I never analyzed anything and just steamrolled ahead with whatever the fuck it was I wanted to do. There was no thought process. I recently relived this memory to my friend Eddie, and he just about laughed his ass off his seat when I told him. He said, "So your father beat the gay out of you that day?" Again, I was just a dumb, bored kid and didn't think anything of it. I knew absolutely nothing about anything or anyone's orientations or compulsions. I had no ill intentions of anything. I just wanted to try on some outfits and have a fashion show. That's all. If I could go back and change anything, I'd probably just have skipped the perfume that day. Just another standard childhood memory in the Lambert home. Thanks for listening.